George Wright had a profound influence on the Park Service.
He rocked the boat.
He was taking a decidedly minority view at the time.
He had questions about practices of the day, like feeding bears in Yosemite and Yellowstone.
Before he began voicing these views, it was routine to trap and shoot out predators in parks.
Sometimes there needs to be a paradigm shift.
He was advocating the inclusion and the use of science in park decision making. And that was not well accepted at the time. And he kept persevering and kept persevering, kept using the data to show the value of it.
He had a clear biological vision driven by the data, by what he observed in the park system.
He saw systems in their entirety and was a solid scientist.
He was a poet. He wrote all sorts of great observations in his journal.
He came up with his own ideas and then backed them up with evidence.
He was truly somebody just really felt fulfilled in the outdoors, and he shared that passion.
George Melendez Wright was not a big guy in stature, but he was a giant in terms of passion and vision and dedication to the national park idea.
Parks cannot be managed as islands. You have to look beyond the park boundary. You have to push your stewardship frontier farther out. And for George Wright to see this in the 1930s was incredible, because this is still sinking in today.
One of the things that he was doing was making sure to incorporate the different perspectives of not only the rangers and the resource managers, but also the landowners and the ranchers. And so this is the same idea of making sure that our decisions are a reflection of what the public's interests are as public land management stewards.
And George M. Wright was one of the first guys that came through and said, we need to look at the evidence. We need to see we need to look at processes and see how natural resource systems are functioning, and then provide that information to Park Service managers to guide Park Service policy.
His activity formed the basis of the first inventories of natural resources in the parks and the first awareness within the Park Service that preserving natural processes as they are, rather than trying to reshape them to meet some current aesthetic value, was really the mission of the Park Service.
The first step in most science is observation and measurement. This is what Galileo did 400 years ago that changed the world, and it's something that George Wright brought to the National Park Service, this idea of inventory, of monitoring animal populations, and the same spirit guides us today.
They also prepared what they called Fauna 1 and Fauna 2, the first two pieces of guidance and policy for managing wildlife and systems in the national park system.
And as a young person, specifically, I'm 22. He was 24 when he started that project to monitor wildlife across the country. I mean, I have 2 years to start a project of national significance if I want to be on track with him. You know, he's just an incredible man, and his legacy is certainly inspiring.
You really see in his life, I think, the power of an individual even over a short period of time. It doesn't have to be a whole long career. You can make things happen in a short amount of time.
Some of his vision would not be realized in his lifetime. Of course, he died suddenly, and at the time that he died, it wasn't clear that a lot of his vision about, for example, the role of predators in these systems would ever be realized. And it's only in our generation, a generation after that, that Wright's vision has come to be realized.
We have so many more threats facing us now that we need to continue with that same passion for protection and maintenance of our national parks that George Wright had.
I think you see that spirit in people who come and work for the Park Service on a daily basis. If you look at the dedication of the people who work in the park, whether they're working in natural resource management or cultural resource management, or they're working in maintenance, or they're working in interpretation, people are proud to work for the Park Service. They're proud to wear the uniform, the green and gray.
The spirit of George Wright is a spirit of persevering in knowing what the right thing is to do.
It's sad that he had a short life, but it's great that he's had a long legacy.